how'd that Los Angeles rally go?
Donald Trump is a criminal.
Still going.
A criminal found guilty of 34 felony counts of fraud. Of course, he is lying and manipulating the stock market too. He is at his best making himself, the billionaires who back him, and the members of Congress who trade with him rich. Not you, not me, not the people. And to be clear, I don't care what party you are, Democrat or Republican. I don't care what position one holds. Members of Congress and elected officials holding and trading individual stock is wrong. It must end, and we must ban it. But I'll give you another example of how shocking and casual this all was when I was first elected. Just this year, I was named and appointed to the powerful Energy and Commerce Committee. This is one of the most powerful committees in all of Congress.
Wow, brag.
And for years, lobbyists worked to keep me off this committee. It oversees 2/3 of the American economy: healthcare, energy, technology, trade. As they say in Congress, if it moves, it's energy. If it doesn't, it's commerce. And that's the jurisdiction of this committee. And an interesting thing that happened was that the day I was named to this committee, the same day, my office's phones rang off the hook and our inboxes were flooded by every corporate lobbyist under the sun. They all wanted to be my best friend. But you know what, Los Angeles? Because of your support, because of you all showing up, because I don't have to take a dime in corporate money, you allow me to say no. But not everyone is so lucky. I have seen firsthand how these groups bully and pressure members of Congress, threatening to either take money away
Remember what
or
Pelosi
spend it
did to
against
her
them if they don't do
before
what
she
they
voted
want.
in favor of the Iron Dome
And
funding?
what they want is for our lives to be as expensive as possible on the lowest possible wage. It all trickles down to how life feels for working people today. These facts of life, the feeling of the water rising up to our throats, the impossibility to afford anything easily, the fear of speaking up, the deeply bitter and toxic division driven more by algorithms on social media than individual thought, the crumbling of our rights and protections. Understand that all of this is what it means and what it feels like to be governed by billionaires. This is what oligarchy feels like, and it only will get worse until we act. It is this system that relies on division to legislate greed that has brought us the most corrupt administration in American history and the Republican majorities to support it. Big money is how we got Donald Trump. And his whole presidency began with launching tools for bribery, meme coins to fleece working people and move around money in the dark, extortion settlements from media companies and law firms who gladly pay them. The removal of duly elected officials on Inauguration Day. Donald Trump removed duly elected officials from the chamber in order to make space for who's really in charge who were the billionaires who sat behind him. They have one central economic mission: to make billionaires richer at the expense of the United States of America. And it does not surprise us that their first economic mission has been to target Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security, to fire our federal workers, and fleece and abandon our veterans so that they can hand that money off to the billionaires who are backing them. But this isn't just about the Republican attacks on working people, LA. We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us too.
I wish AOC had Bernie's cadence. She's not angry enough. I don't think Bernie's angry enough either, you know. It's more like a stern talking to. I do think we need like a f***ing psychopath to lead this movement now. We need somebody doing like a punished, you know, scar running down the eye. Absolutely insane fervor, you know? Yeah, we need a mad dog. We need a hot dog. I don't know. Vosh, Wisconsin teen killed parents in order to go after Trump and overthrow government. Well, we condemn.
That means our communities, all of us coming together, choosing and voting for Democrats and elected officials who know how to stand for the working class. And LA, I want to thank you for working very hard and doing your best to try to make that happen. In fact, last month, when other Democrats caved, your senators, Alex Padilla and Adam Schiff, stood strong against the D.C. pressure and voted against the Republican spending bill to cut billions for working people. In fact, all of your Democratic members of Congress and all of your members here today voted against that bill, too. Defend them, L.A., and don't stop there. I want you to look at every level of office around and support Democrats who actually fight, because those are the ones who can actually defeat Republicans. So, folks, you know what that means. We have to start working now to give David Valadao, Young Kim, and Ken Calvert the boot and replace them with a brawling Democrat who will stand for the working people of California. But beyond elections, LA, our task is to build community. Block associations, volunteer groups, church organizations, PTAs, activist organizations, because community is the most powerful building block we have to defeat authoritarianism and root out corruption. This is the path to guaranteeing health care to every American, to establish a living minimum wage, to take on skyrocketing rents and mortgages, to tackle the climate crisis, and establish a country where the American dream is actually possible for all of us. I come from a working class family. My mom cleaned houses, my dad worked to start a small business, and they worked so hard just to make life possible a little bit better for my brother and I. And when I was a teenager, my dad was diagnosed with cancer. He passed away before I was even 20 years old, and the rug was pulled out from us, all in the middle of the 2008 recession. So many of us live like this. One accident, one bad day, one piece of bad news away from our lives falling apart. We don't have to live like this anymore, Los Angeles. We can stand
Well, it's
with one
LA,
another
so life's gonna
and
suck no
stand
matter what.
for ourselves. And we might come from different places, but we share the same experiences. So to all who came here today unsure of whether this is where you belong, I want to say that you do. No matter if you have all the right words to say, no matter your race, religion, gender identity, or status, no matter if you disagree with me on some things, but if you are willing to fight for someone that you don't know, you are welcome here. If you are willing to fight for working people regardless of who they are, how they identify, you are welcome here. Because here, everyone is valued. But we have to stand together. We cannot be tempted to turn in our neighbors or be fooled into thinking that we are really that much different from a trans kid who wants to get accepted by their friends. That we're that different from a dreamer who worked to go to college and try to provide for their family. That we're that different from anyone who's not like us. Hate is a trap that sinks us all. And it is standing together without exception to reject division. That is the only way we can win. It's the only way we can win. So I hope you see that this movement is not about partisan labels or purity tests, but it's about class solidarity. It is about the thousands of you who came out here today to stand together and say our lives deserve dignity and our work deserves respect. No matter who we are here to make a sacred promise to each other. And our goal today is to commit to building the kind of country we all deserve.
If nothing else, assuming we still have a country in a few years, Schumer is done for. I cannot fathom what Schumer could possibly do to continue to hold his seat in the face of this, you know? I still don't get why she's hated by certain lefties. Because she's the most prominent progressive in Congress, so they attack her to prove that they're more woke than her. That's the only reason, really. She's not been perfect all the time, but the specific, deliberate, targeted hatred towards her is because they want to prove that they're not, like, you know, down with the system like she is. You know, like she's been corrupted and captured, but like they're the real subversive ones. Do they hate women? You can invalidate that as a factor. Everyone hates women. You cross those out on either side of the divisor.
And we will make that promise to take care of each other on our worst days and to share in the successes of our best. Thank you so much, Los Angeles. And it is my honor here today to introduce someone who has dedicated his life to bringing us together. So let's get loud and let's be grateful.
Hey, pretty big
Senator
crowd.
Bernie Sanders is in the building.
Wow, look at that.
Come on down, Bernie.
That's pretty good. Especially when you consider in the fact every single one of these people will have needed to drive 45 minutes here and park nearby and then walk from the parking spot over. Oh, wait, hold on a second. That's on-site gospel music.
Power to the people. Power to the people right on. Power to the people.
Happening today, two big names on the national political scene are bringing their Fighting Oligarchy tour to downtown Los Angeles.
Oh, sorry, that was a different tab. Thought it was the same tab.
Power to the people.
Unbelievable! There are people a half a mile away. Let me... Nope. It's not Bernie, it is you. Let me thank our
Here's the
brothers and
venue.
sisters in the trade union movement for being here. Let me thank Unite Here, Liuna Local 724, ILWU, the Longshoremen, CNA nurses, NNN your nurses, NUHW Kaiser nurses, UTLA, UAW, California Labor Federation, AFL-CIO.
That's a lot of letters.
And today we pledge with our brothers and sisters in the trade union movement, we are going to grow the movement. Millions of workers want to join unions because they know they're going to get better wages, better benefits, better working conditions. Let's do it. And I want to thank the musicians who have been with us today. So great. Ray's Gospel Choir, thank you.
I think this is probably the biggest, this is like the biggest grouping of people I've ever seen here, at least. In the plaza? Yeah, this tweet says they're estimating 32K. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, I can't really say. That's a lot of people, though. That's a big crowd. Here, wait, one more. One more because I think it's cool. You know, grew up around here. Rarely see this many people together. I mean, it's LA. Again, everyone had to drive. Woo, look, they're packed. Oh my goodness. They're crowd. And this is before they even started speaking, apparently.
The Red Pears, Jeff Rosenstock, Indigo D'Souza, Dirty Projectors, Joan Baez, Maggie Rogers, Neil Young.
Woo!
And you know why we had all of these great musicians here today? It's not just to entertain you. It's more than that. We're going to make our revolution with joy. We're going to sing and dance our way to victory against hatred and divisiveness.
Hassan was there. And he says 36K. Could be lefty misinfo. Jesus Christ, he looks good. How close is he? He's right by the news folks, it looks like. I ate the stash. Nah, it's in vogue now. Like looking a little bit like a greasy 70s pornographer. Not saying he's necessarily fully committed to that aesthetic. I'm just saying, like, you know, it's in vogue. Like the mullet thing, you know? I'm trying to figure where he is in the plaza. They've got to be right there then, right? The speakers?
So I want to thank
I wish I could
all
grow a
of
mustache.
the musicians who have been with us. And I want to thank the political leaders who have been here, Ro and Pramila and Jimmy. Thank you. And mostly, I want to thank all of you. And I want to tell you something. You are making Donald Trump. We need a medic. Medic.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Your presence here today, and by the way, there are some 36,000 of you.
Ah, there we go. He got that from Hassan's tweet. That's where he got that from.
The largest rally that we have ever had. And your presence here today is making Donald Trump and Elon Musk very nervous. Last time we did a rally in Denver, a little bit smaller than this. Thank you, LA. Elon Musk announced that everybody at the rally, or most of the people, were paid organizers. Anybody here get paid to come today? And Donald Trump, very envious of sizes, he said, well, Bernie has rallies of 2,000 or 3,000 people, can't compete with Trump. He lied. So I invite the president to come to LA. Tell the people here why you think it's a great idea to cut Medicaid and nutrition and health care so you can give tax breaks to billionaires. The people of LA would love to hear that. So why are we here in LA today? And the answer is obvious. We are living in a moment of extraordinary danger. And how we respond to this moment will not only impact our lives, but will impact the lives of our kids and future generations. And in terms of the climate, it will depend, we can depend on whether or not.
Notice how the people in the background of these rallies are hot and the ones in the background of Trump rallies aren't. Well, I'm not going to reduce it to them being hot, but I think it is worth noting that for every single Trump rally, all the people behind him were like the same crowd of 50 or 60-year-old white people who followed him around from event to event, and they all have like their custom little sign, and that's like their whole life is like camping. They're like groupies, and here it's like a bunch of young, diverse people who look like, I don't know, maybe they care a bit about politics, not just about like the cult fervor.
The planet Earth survives. That's why we're here today. We're living at a moment where a handful of billionaires control the economic and political life of our country. We're living in a moment with a president who has no understanding or respect for the Constitution of the United States. And let us make no doubt about it, moving us rapidly toward an authoritarian form of society. And Mr. Trump, we ain't going there. We are living in a moment where the Republican Party has, to a large degree, become a cult of the individual, obeying Trump's every wish, and at a time of massive income and wealth inequality. Right now, as we speak, they are plotting about how they can give $1.1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1% and devastate programs that working families need.
We're getting geared up for the real battle, by the way, between the Republican House and Republican Senate, because the House has affirmed like a very bad version of the Trump tax cuts, his big beautiful bill, the one that would at a minimum cut like $800 billion from Medicaid for over the next 10 years. That version has been approved by the House. The Senate version originally was less insane. Far less insane, much less of a deficit creating, fewer cuts, so on. So the battle now is between the House and the Senate, because it's now up to the Senate. Dems will kowtow as ever. No. Dems have nothing to do with this. This bypasses the filibuster. It's a budget reconciliation. It's not gonna. They only need 50 votes. There are more moderate Republicans in the Senate. Trump is going to put a lot of pressure on Thune and the Senate Republicans to go forward. 51 votes to go forward with the crazy version of the bill, because the House, generally speaking, is a lot more militantly pro-Trump than the Senate. So it's really just a matter of how aggressively the Trump administration pushes the Senate to adopt their version of the bill. We'll see.
You know, it's funny. Just yesterday, our good friend Elon Musk Mr. Musk sent out a tweet, and in essence, he said, you know, Bernie Sanders has been talking about the growth of oligarchy year after year after year. Well, Elon, you're damn right. That's what I've been talking about. The difference is, I'm no longer talking about how we're moving to oligarchy. I'm talking about how we are living today in an oligarchic form of society. 3 months ago, when Trump was inaugurated, standing right behind him during his inauguration were the three wealthiest people in this country, Mr. Musk, Mr. Bezos, and Mr. Zuckerberg. And right behind them were 13 other billionaires who Trump had nominated to head up major federal agencies. And that, brothers and sisters, is what oligarchy is all about. You know, lately, given what's happening in America, I've been remembering the history lessons that I learned when I was in the 6th grade. And I remember, and I think many of you will recall, when you think about your education, you'll remember hearing about Abraham Lincoln on the fields of Gettysburg in 1863. And that was just a few days after 20...
Yeah, I saw it, SDL. I guess it's just, like, really depressing for me to talk about a political situation in which the world's wealthiest man who bought the election and presides as a wannabe shadow president can laughing crying emoji, the one guy who keeps correctly saying over and over that the thing that he did happened. You know? It's just, I don't know.
80,000 Union soldiers had either died or been wounded fighting against the nightmare of slavery. And Lincoln looked out on that field, and this is what he said, and you will all remember it. He said, quote, we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. And that is precisely why we are here today, to make sure that government of, by, and for the people does not perish, and that we do not become a government of the billionaire class, by the billionaire class, and for the billionaire class. The American people do not want the richest guy on earth running all over Washington, D.C., decimating the Social Security Administration, making it harder. It's the richest guy on earth, making it harder for old people with disabilities to get the benefits that they paid into. Proposing to lay off 83,000 workers at the Veterans Administration. Denying the health care that the men and women who put their lives on the line to defend us deserve. Slashing the Department of Education. Decimating USAID, which, by the way, means that hundreds of...
LA liberals unambiguously in favor of vets dying in the streets. Sorry, it's a little funny.
Thousands, if not millions, of the most desperate people in this world will die as a result. And when we talk about oligarchy, it is not just economics. I trust that all of you know that you are living under a corrupt campaign finance system which allows billionaires to buy elections. Don't tell me about democracy when Musk himself can put $270 million to elect Donald Trump and then get rewarded with the most important position in government. But it's not just Musk and Republicans, it's the Democratic Party as well. Their billionaires tell candidates, don't stand up to the powerful special interest. And too many Democrats are listening to them. And that is why if we want to preserve democracy in America, we've got to overturn this disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision.
I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
And we got to move to public funding of elections. In America, one person, one vote, not billionaires buying elections. And let me tell you something about the oligarchs. They are very, very religious people. But their religion is not based on doing unto others as you would have them do unto you. Their religion is not based on love or justice. Their religion is based on greed, greed, and more greed. All over this country, in Vermont, California, all over this country, we have a serious problem.
What elections aren't publicly funded? Marcel 20, you've watched how many streams? Did you really think American elections are publicly funded? Where on earth did you get that impression from? No, they're not publicly funded at all. You need to be wealthy to win an election or convince people to give you their money, which is really hard to do. So usually it's just wealthy people or people who are in the parties that already exist. One of the reasons we have such a locked-in party structure is because one of the only ways to get funding for an election, if you're not independently wealthy, is to be a part of the pre-existing funding, like the systems connected to Republicans and Democrats that allow them to raise money. They're European, their European minds cannot comprehend.
With drug addiction, with alcoholism, with other forms of addiction. But in my honest opinion, the most serious addiction crisis we face is the addiction of the oligarchy toward greed. They got billions and billions of dollars.
I like this rhetoric from Bernie, but I think that I think it's important to understand that the dynamic has shifted past greed and more towards like hate. Like here's a person who's motivated entirely by making money. Warren Buffett. He's really good at it. It seems to be the only thing he cares about. But that's not Elon, right? Like Elon likes being wealthy. He wants to be more wealthy, but that's clearly not the main thing fueling him. You know? It's hate and spite, and in a lot of cases, Nazism, which overlap, right? It's just like, and this is why, like, you need a mad dog fighting against them. You need someone who's hateful back, because, like, if greed was the only problem here, we wouldn't be seeing what we're seeing. You know? Goes way beyond that.
It's not enough. They need more. And if they have to step on the poor and the disabled and working class people, that is what they will do unless we stop them, and we will stop them. But it's not just oligarchy we are fighting. We're fighting, okay, EMT.
It's LA, man. Drink some water before you go out to these goddamn rallies.
Raise your hand where the problem is. Okay, can we get somebody there?
Motherfuckers are collapsing by the minute.
Okay, thank you.
They're falling apart. It's only 73 out there. Yeah, but the sun will get you regardless of the heat in a lot of cases. It's just very, very sunny down there. Also, they're really packed in, you know?
But it's not just oligarchy. We're fighting a president who undermines our Constitution every day and threatens our freedom of speech and assembly, and whose agents are rounding up innocent people off the streets, putting them in unmarked vans and throwing them in detention centers. That is what happens in dictatorships, not democracies. And we're going to stop that outrageous action on the part of the president. You know, our founding fathers of this country were no dummies. They wrote a constitution and established a form of government with a separation of powers. Remember what reading all about that? You got a legislative body, Congress. You got an executive branch, president. You got a judiciary, the federal courts. And they wrote that document because they had just fought a brutal war against the autocratic King of England. And what they understood as they were forming this new country, that they never wanted to see a nation where one person had unlimited power. Well, Trump wants that power. We are not giving it to him. Trump is suing the media because they say bad things about him. Oh, how horrible is that? He has sued ABC, CBS, Meta, the Des Moines Register. His FCC is investigating NPR and PBS. He loves the media when they fawn over him, but he can't take criticism. This from a guy who has made vulgar comments about his opponents. Hey, Mr. President, if you can't take criticism, get out of politics. That's what democracy is about. Trump is going after...
You know, I've thought about this a bit, and I do think there's some truth to it. I really do think the main reason why why Trump doesn't talk about Bernie that much is because he understands he's a very hard target. Like, there are so many Democrats, including AOC, that Trump feels he has infinite license to attack on basically any grounds. He doesn't talk about Bernie that much. And I really think the reason for that is because he understands that in addition to the fact that basically everyone loves Bernie, it's just really, really, really difficult. I don't even know. It's not even that Bernie's that like militantly aggressive or anything. I think it's more just like, it would be free press for him, right? It would be an engagement that Bernie would take advantage of, right? That's what I figure, at least.
The powers of Congress. He is illegally abolishing agencies that Congress created. He's withholding funding that Congress has appropriated. He is establishing tariffs that he has no legal right to do. But it's not just the media and Congress that he's trying to intimidate. In an absolutely outrageous and unconstitutional way, he is going after the judiciary. His view is if a decision comes down from a judge that you don't like, you try to get rid of that judge and impeach him or her. He is going after law firms that have opposed him and his interest in the past, and disgracefully, a number of these law firms have caved in. He is going after universities. You know, the function of a university, school of higher education, is...
Did you see Sununu saying Republicans will end Medicare and Medicaid and Americans will be okay with it? One question. What is a Sununu? I'm Googling Sununu. Chris Sununu, former governor of New Hampshire. That doesn't sound like a real name to me. Republican says Americans will accept cuts to Medicaid. Chris Sununu, the Republican former governor of New Hampshire, suggested Americans would absolutely accept ending Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security, along with increasing the retirement age beyond 67 in order to slash the national debt. That's cool. A little bit uncharacteristically forward, huh?
You can't do what Elon is saying he's doing without touching the programs that American people don't want to get touched. And yet,
no, Congress doesn't want them to get touched. Americans will accept it.
Americans will accept
Absolutely.
Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security.
Some adjustments? Absolutely.
What are those adjustments, though? Then that's the second part. What are those adjustments?
Let's move the retirement age. Just moving the retirement. 62?
Yeah, the thing, I think he might be right. He's just stupid to say it. But he might be right. It does seem like Americans are willing to accept essentially like infinite indignities piled on their lap and with no pushback. It does kind of seem that way.
Or 64, whatever it is. That's insane.
67.
Does he not know the retirement age? Dog.
Just for
No young person thinks that retirement should be in the mid 60s or 67. No young people.
I mean, it was
think
raised.
should be.
See, that's also probably true. Because every time I talk about the future of the country with any person in my age range, I'm not even like young, really. Like literally, I had a conversation yesterday or text with like a former hookup, and I was like, "Hey, how you doing? Future of the economy." And they were like, "Well, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to make it to my 60s anyway." I keep getting that answer from people in my age bracket, man. Real lol. See, you people are fucking doing it, but you're not going to want to die when you're 60. You think now you're not going to want to live when you're 60, but when you're 60, that's going to be you then, now, and you're going to think, no, I want to live, because if you want to die when you're 60, you're going to want to die now, but you're still alive watching this right now. Every you just can't imagine yourself having back problems. Well, I threw my back out deadlifting like a decade ago, and I'm still alive. No goddamn future plan. Oh, I'm not planning on making it that far. What the fuck do you mean by that? Then why are you still persisting now? What's so great now that you think won't persist then? There are plenty of happy older people. I want to live. Yeah, learn from Nico Robin, okay?
To pursue the truth, not to cave in to an authoritarian president to protect the federal grants they get. But it is not just Trump's and his administration's domestic policy that we should be concerned about. For the first time in our 250-year history, we have a president who is aligning himself with dictatorship abroad.
Well, we've done that before.
No, Mr. Trump, Ukraine did not start that war. Putin and Russia did. We must lead the world in supporting democracies, not supporting Putin and dictatorships. So let me tell you something else. Trump wants over $8 billion more dollars to go to Netanyahu's war machine.
There we go. From the anti-Semitic crowd.
Israel has a right to defend itself against terrorism, but it does not have a right to go to war against the entire Palestinian people.
You have to add in that caveat.
It does not have the right to kill 50,000 people, injure over 100.
Did you hear the IDF has said that Hamas has replenished their numbers back to 40,000? Whether or not they're telling the truth, they're probably not, by the way, because like the point of them saying that is to justify continuing to kill people, right? Like some people are saying like, well, yeah, of course, if you killed my family bombing Hamas, the first thing I'd do is create Hamas too. Yeah, but it's like Israel. They're lying. They always lie about everything. So it's probably not actually up to 40,000. They're probably just like killing people. How could how could Hamas even replenish their numbers with what? Like where are they getting equipment from? Like it's been over for a long time. They respond. Oh.
100,000 and destroy the entire infrastructure. And as bad as that is, As bad as that is,
Holy shit, it's 3.
Trump
I gotta go.
wants to expel the 2.2 million people in Gaza in order to create a playground for his billionaire friends.
No, I actually have to go. I can't stream tomorrow either. Tomorrow's a close friend's birthday. They've got like stuff that I have to prepare for. There's stuff I got to do. I got to put the work in.